their website. So perhaps the problem is at their end, but that does not explain why we had this call from active duty Marine in Biloxi saying, hey, he was able to get right on the SBC website. Then we got a guy from Fort Hood saying not only was the SBC website blocked, he can't get on to AFR.net. Our website has been locked out. It gets a big giant error message. So we're still obviously collecting information. Call us if you have any information. Let's see. Got a caller from Texas who says that when he logged on, a warning came up saying the site might contain malicious content. So apparently his understanding was it was a virus warning. And, the other thing that's worth doing, a caller suggested this, maybe some people ought to start trying to log on to some Islamic websites and see how far you get with that. That'd be a wild thing if you could get onto Islamic websites, but you couldn't get on to the AFR website. So again, possibility that this may be a non-intentional problem. That's why we are collecting information. Now, speaking of Islam, more developments in the deal. I mentioned to you at the top of the hour that the House Republicans issued an extensive study of what happened in Benghazi. And the report notes, this is from Terrence Jeffrey, CNS.news, the report notes that Al-Qaeda linked Ansar al-Sharia, that's the name of the group in Libya, connected to Al-Qaeda, they took credit for the attack, listen to this, while it was still unfolding. And that the State Department reported this at the time to other government agencies, including the White House. Here's what the report says. The U.S. government immediately had information that the attacks were conducted by Al-Qaeda-affiliated terrorists. So they knew from Jump Street. This had nothing to do with some YouTube video. The White House knew it. Hillary Clinton knew it. President Obama knew it. Other government agencies knew it. It had nothing to do with that YouTube video. Yet administration officials downplayed those connections and focused on the idea that provocation for violence resulted from a YouTube video. The report says the attackers were members of extremist groups, including the Libya-based Ansar al-Sharia and Al-Qaeda in the lands of the Islamic Maghreb. So, again, we've got a guy languishing in jail. That's what angers me the most. You have a completely innocent American who is in jail. We know now that Al-Qaeda, for sure, that Al-Qaeda was claiming credit for this from virtually the moment the attack began. And yet Hillary Clinton lied to congressmen under oath when she said, and we'll talk about the security thing in a second, she lied under oath. President Obama went and lied to the UN about this video being responsible. They were lying all over the place. House Republicans, here is a piece from Washington Examiner by Joel Gerke. House Republicans in this report concluded that then Secretary of State Hillary Clinton was not telling the truth. That's a polite way of saying she was lying when she told Congress that she wasn't aware that officials at the U.S. mission in Benghazi had requested extra security. Remember, she was asked about this, and she said in January, I didn't see those requests. They didn't come to me. I didn't approve them. I didn't deny them. That was a direct quote from what she told Congress under oath in January. The House report indicates that Clinton received a request for more security from Gene Kretz, who preceded Christopher Stevens as ambassador to Libya. In other words, Chris Stevens was the one that was killed in the attacks. The ambassador that preceded him, so this is going back months now, had asked for more security. And here is a quote from the report. On April 19, 2012, remember the attack happened September 11. So what is that? April 4, 5 months earlier. On April 19, 2012, the response cable from the Department of State to Embassy Tripoli bearing Secretary Clinton's signature. Bearing Secretary Clinton's signature, acknowledges Ambassador Kretz's request for additional security, but instead articulates a plan to scale back security assets for the U.S. mission in Libya, including the Benghazi mission. So not only was Hillary Clinton lying about this, that she didn't know, she was the one that turned it down. She's the reason that security was so scarce at the Benghazi compound, that she was the one that actually authorized the reduction in security for the Benghazi compound. So she's the one that's responsible for that. She knew it was a terrorist attack. And obviously she's out there trying to cover her own tracks here. There's no defense. I mean, they're overrun. Well, why was there no security? Well, that was because Hillary Clinton turned them down. She knows it's Al-Qaeda from Jump Street because they claimed it right while it was happening. She knew that. Still went out and pinned it on a YouTube video. Why? Because President Obama's meme is, hey, Al-Qaeda's been neutralized. They're on the run. We've defeated them. The war on terror is over. That's the narrative they were trying to maintain. Let's grab a phone call. Let's go to Rebecca Van Buren, Arkansas. Rebecca, welcome to Focal Point with Brian Fisher. What's on your mind?
About taking the scriptures off the guns and taking the crosses down and the prayers. That's not for politically correct. They're trying to make us ashamed. They're trying to make you ashamed to be a Christian. Hush, don't pray so loud. Don't show anybody you're a Christian. You're not supposed to be ashamed. You're supposed to be loud and proud. I don't want him to be ashamed of me when I get there.
Well, you know, and it is interesting that, you know, I use that analogy. They're treating the Bible like it was child porn. It can't be seen. It can't be acknowledged. It can't be viewed. It can't be looked at in public. It can't be disseminated in public. It has to be concealed. It's got to be covered over. So I don't know. It's I think you may have a good point there. So I appreciate that call, Rebecca. Thank you for that.
Thank you.
888-589-8840 is the number to call. Got another caller who said that sometime updates cause security warnings, and this caller seems to think that that may be what's happening. There's some kind of update of a software or whatever, programming updates, and that sometimes can cause these security warnings to pop up. So again, we will continue to collect information as the day progresses. 888-589-8840. Now, a little bit more on what's going on in Boston. This Tamerlane, and remember, he was named after the Muslim conqueror who made his reputation by killing his enemies and then stacking their skulls up in pyramids. That was Tamerlane. He was named after that guy. So obviously they consider him a hero. Went around cutting the heads off of people and stacking their skulls up. In the Muslim world, that guy's a hero. And so they named him after him. You know, we name our, sons after biblical heroes. We name them after Abraham Lincoln, who freed the slaves. They name their sons after guys that went around cutting people's heads off and stacking them up in pyramids. Anyway, he was listed, this is according to Weekly Standard, referring to a Reuters report, he was listed on the U.S. government's highly classified central database of people it views as potential terrorists. But the list is so vast that this did not mean authorities automatically kept close tabs on him. Now, there's two things that are striking about this. Number one, this guy was on a highly classified database of people that are living in the United States that our government viewed as a potential terrorist. This guy was on that database. But now that's not the most striking thing to me. The most striking thing to me is almost an oversight in this paragraph, and that is that the list is so vast that this didn't mean that anybody was going to be monitored just because they were on the list, because there were way too many names on that list. There was no way to keep track of them all. You know, this goes back to the column that I wrote over the weekend. We can't watch them all. There's no way to keep tabs of everyone in the country who, because of their Islamic ideology, represents an actual or potential threat to our national security. And here, Reuters is saying, look, there are so many names on that list, there's no way to keep track of them all. It's exactly my point. We can't watch them all. And even our own government's admitting that. Look, there's just way too many potential terrorists. We know their names. We know who they are. We know where they live. We know that they're potential terrorists. But there's just way, way too many of them for us to keep tabs on them. We just can't do it. I mean, if there was ever a call to tighten up Islamic immigration, that's it right there. Now, we don't know how many people on that list are of the Muslim persuasion, but I am willing to bet that it is the vast majority. Well, stay tuned. We're going to be back after the news. We have a caller in the military that has one of these scopes in his hand. So I'm hoping that he will be able to stay on over the news. The caller from Jacksonville, Arkansas, if it's any way you can stay over, we got 5-minute news break. If you can hang on over the news break, I would love to be able to bring you on. We're going to protect your identity for obvious reasons, but love to hear what you have to say. He's got one of those scopes. Remember, we talked about this. United States military committing a hate crime against Christianity by ordering the removal of Bible verses. That's a hate crime. That's discrimination based on a religious point of view. That's a hate crime according to the federal law. Focal Point AFR Talk. We will be back after the news.